Hello, my name is Donna O'Kelly, and I am an education specialist at the Oregon Department of Education. Today, I would like to share with you the Perkins grant-making process being instituted beginning with the 2023-2024 school year and beyond. To get started, a quick reminder of the changes in process brought about by the Perkins 5 legislation. These include the development of a four-year plan based on a needs assessment. The needs assessment is required to be conducted every 2 years with an opportunity to develop the four-year plan and/or two-year plan in mid-cycle if needed. Perkins 5 identified a requirement to engage a broad contingent of partners in order to determine need and to help develop and monitor the plan. As we move into the next year, there are some significant changes that will impact CTE Perkins grant-making processes. At the school district level, the Aligning for Student Success integrated guidance will be going into effect. This guidance integrates 6 initiatives into a single process, making all 6 a part of the overall school improvement effort. For our school districts, this will allow CTE to be at the table during the district engagement and needs assessment process, providing an opportunity to demonstrate the value of CTE to a much broader audience. For all of the Perkins applicants, the new process will leverage a lot of the work you are already doing, just on a different timeline. The overall aim for these changes is to look for efficiencies and reduce redundancies, and therefore allowing for more time to be spent on implementation of the plan. In Perkins grant application processes, there are 4 main components. Engagement with partners leading to a completion of needs assessment. There is an application, a budget, and a report on the activities and budget. Let's take a look at how these processes will start working with our 23-24 school year, starting with the engagement and needs assessment. So here are the requirements for all Perkins recipients. All recipients must conduct a needs assessment. Recipients must also ensure that they address the required questions listed in the law. They must engage with the required partners. And something new that we're adding for next year is that all applicants must share the results of the needs assessment with the CTE regional coordinator. The CTE regional coordinator will be synthesizing the identified needs of the consortium member districts to include that information with the basic grant application, but will also be using the information from all districts and colleges in the region to help formulate the needs for the regional reserve grants. In the engagement process and needs assessment process, it is important to collaborate the CTE regional coordinator as a partner. The CTE regional coordinator has a deep knowledge and understanding of the things listed here and so much more. Districts, colleges, and ESDs should be closely collaborating with and sharing information back and forth with the CTE regional coordinator. Let's look at the secondary grant recipients for a minute. All districts in Oregon will be required to conduct an integrated needs assessment as part of the overall district improvement efforts. CTE is included in the needs assessment resource in the integrated guidance. I have crosswalked and verified that the required Perkins needs assessment questions are included in the integrated needs assessment tool. Districts may choose to use that tool or any tool to assess need. The key will be to ensure that all of the Perkins required questions are addressed as part of the engagement and needs assessment process. For post-secondary applicants, the needs assessment tool we've used in the past is getting a full facelift so that it is fully focused and meaningful tool to help with the engagement and needs assessment process at the post-secondary level. All colleges, regardless of if they are part of a consortia or direct recipient, will be conducting the needs assessment. The results of the needs assessment will be provided to the CTE regional coordinator. If a member of the consortia, those needs will then be folded into the overall regional priorities for the basic Perkins grant. And if a direct college recipient, the identified needs will be part of the discussion for the Perkins Reserve Grant. For the CTE consortia, there will be a big shift. The needs assessment and engagement will all happen at the local level. The CTE regional coordinator will not be doing a separate needs assessment, but will be collecting the information from member districts and colleges to include in the basic application, and from all of the districts and colleges in the region for the regional reserve application. It is important at the consortia level to look at shared engagement strategies, streamlined processes, and reduced redundancy. Next, let's take a look at the Perkins application. For the 2023 to 2027 school years, the application for Perkins grant funds will be submitted differently depending on the way you receive your funding. Regardless of which funding configuration you belong to, whether a direct grant recipient or consortium member, you must ensure that the Perkins required questions are answered in the application. Again, I have crosswalked the application preview in the integrated guidance, and all of the Perkins required questions are represented in that application. Some things in the application will remain the same. The use of the needs assessment results to develop your four-year plan, the identification of what used to be called goals and benchmarks, but new terminology, outcomes, strategies, and activities. And in the application, you must still answer the required questions that have been identified in Perkins law. Some things that are different are, in the past, regardless of how you received funding, direct or consortia, you had the same application and process. Moving forward, it will not be the same, and more will be explained on the next slides. You will be submitting a 2-year application for the 2023 to 2025 school year, and there will be no expectation for another submission during that 2-year period. There will be quarterly progress reports that will largely replace the annual reports that have been required in the past. Looking at the secondary recipients, remembering all districts must integrate all 6 initiatives into their overall improvement efforts. So as the priorities were identified in the needs assessment process, the CTE Perkins needs also emerged and will be included in the district application. The secondary applications must have board approval and will be submitted in March of 2023 for the 2023 to 2025 school year. For consortium members, you will use the needs assessment to determine your school's needs, and that will show up in your integrated application. You will provide a copy of your district's integrated application and will collaborate with the CTE regional coordinator and other member districts and colleges to form the regional priorities to be included in the basic grant application. Close, ongoing discussion, collaboration will be critical, especially during this first implementation year. Post-secondary direct grant applications will have will have a new application. It will look like the secondary application to the extent possible. The application will be available along with the needs assessment for preview in fall of 2022, and the application due date will remain unchanged. It will be due June 30th of 2023. For the consortia application, like the post-secondary direct grant application, the regional consortia application also will not be due until June 30th. This gives the CTE regional coordinator and consortia members the time to partner and review the needs identified by districts and colleges in the region, and to identify outcomes, strategies, and activities for the Perkins basic grants. The CTE regional coordinator will lead the development and submission of the regional applications and associated budget. The Perkins budget and tiered budgeting process may arguably be where we will see some of the biggest changes from our current Perkins budgeting and revision process. Some of the big changes are listed here. Instead of a year-by-year budget, applicants will be developing a 2-year budget aligned to the identified outcome strategies and activities in the application. As a note, for planning purposes, applicants will use the 2022-2023 allocation amounts to build their 2-year budget and then adjust as actual allocations are available. When the 2-year budget is developed, you will not need to allocate to the penny, but will be able to leave some funds unallocated each year to allow for flexibility and adjustments. And to aid in this flexibility, we will be implementing a tiered budgeting process. Basically, this is the ability to gain prior approval for items that you have agreed that will be needed in implementing your plan, but are not included in the 2-year budget. And finally, there will be quarterly reports and adjustments to the budgets over the 2-year period. There will be more guidance on the tiered budgeting process, but a little more here. Tiered budgeting is really designed to allow applicants to get prior approval for those next up items. So regardless of shifts in staffing, ordering, or travel, you already have activities in your back pocket that have been discussed, vetted, and approved by your local teams that can be inserted into your implementation plan. Let's look at some of the differences for our applicants. For secondary direct applicants, the Perkins budget will be totally embedded in the overall district application and budget template. Again, the need to share budgeting information with the CTE regional coordinator is highlighted. For consortium members, if an item in the budget is anticipated to be covered by the regional application, this will be denoted in the application. This process is still in development, but it will be important to have ongoing conversations with the consortium membership along the way regarding budgeting needs. Post-secondary direct grant recipients will create a 2-year budget and tiered budget for the 2023 to 2025 school year as well, and it will be submitted June 30th, 2023. Again, we are asking that you please provide a copy of your application and budget to the CTE regional coordinator to be used in deliberation and conversations regarding the priorities and needs for the Perkins Reserve Grant. The CTE regional consortia budget will not be due until June 30th. This gives the CTE regional coordinator and consortium members the time to partner and review the funding needed to address outcome strategies and activities for the Perkins Basic Grant, and partnering with all regional districts and colleges for the Reserve Grant. The CTE regional coordinator will lead the development and submission of the regional applications and budget. Just to clarify, the regional consortia and reserve grant will also be a 2-year budget and will include tiered budgeting. It is evident that change is coming. We will find ourselves in a weird place next year where we will be implementing the plan that many of you have just submitted or will be submitting on June 30th of 2022, and doing reports on that grant under the old rhythms. But at the same time, we will be gearing up for some significant change. So what can we do now? I think the most important thing is to begin to work together. Make deliberate contact regardless of where you are located. District CTE leaders, CTE regional coordinators, community college CTE leaders, and ESD liaisons should be in communication now, right now, to develop processes and to assist each other in completing the planning for the engagement and needs assessment process in the fall. Second, work together to start updating handouts, presentations, and the like, so that when engagement does begin in the fall, you are prepared and ready to share your best stuff. Finally, be on the lookout for more information, opportunities, and guidance. Thank you for your time today. If you have any questions or need more information, please contact one of the people on the screen. Thank you.